Hey, what's up everybody, it's Fedbear coming to you with part 2 of Deku, the yannko mochi. Now before I get started, I want to give a quick shout out to Alex2400 for making my thumbnails for the video. And with that being said, let's get into the video. Roll that intro.
That they say is fucking heinous, 'cause I'm the type of dude that you know is fucking dangerous.
Yannko Mochi, Chapter 2. My First Mate. It had been a full-on year since Deku ran away from home. He has been living in the forest, training on how to use his devil fruit and his haki. Katakuri had explained to Deku what haki is, and how it could be used. Ever since Deku ran away from home, his body has gone through some crazy training. Deku had developed some muscle, and as well his senses had developed up to superhuman level so far. Deku had been traveling and training most of the time. There would be times where he would train his endurance by transforming a part of his body, like his leg, arm, or chest, into mochi, and holding it for as long as he could. Word of Deku running away got around. Deku had to hide from the cops, a few heroes, while the weeks went by. At the beginning, Deku would cry himself to sleep, looking at the picture in the pendant of him and his mom together. There would be times where Deku would want to go back, but didn't. As he kept moving forward, as Katakuri helped him along the way, Katakuri had given Deku information on what he needed to survive out in the forest and woods, what he could eat, drink, and how to make shelter, and what he could sell in the town for money. Right now, Deku was making his way to a big city, as he saw a lot of tall buildings, cars, buses, and people all walking around the city. As Deku walked to the city, a lot of the people gave him strange looks, a few of them in their minds saying, "Why is a 7-year-old all alone in the city?" Deku didn't give them any attention as he just kept on walking, loving to be back in the city again. As he was walking through the city, he saw a park where other kids his age were playing. Deku decided to have some fun and take a break from his training, as he ran to the entrance of the park and began to explore it. The park was nice and peaceful, as it had a lot of trees, land, and a few playgrounds for the kids. Deku's good mood exploring the park was ruined when he saw a boy with purple hair crying while other kids were surrounding him and saying something. Deku stopped exploring and immediately made his way over to the group to find out what was going on. "A hero? Huh. You're kidding, right?" one of the boys said, looking to have a giraffe quirk. "Your quirk suits a villain at best," a girl with a butterfly quirk said. "What kind of hero brainwashes people?" another kid said. "You will grow up to become a villain with a villainous quirk," another boy said. All these things were making the boy with purple hair cry. Deku kept on listening as he decided to walk over to the group. Every word that they said to the boy made Deku madder and madder. Every single second that Deku didn't take action was a miracle. Once he got enough he heard the girl say, "There's no way that a person with a villainous quirk can be a hero." "He can be a hero. A quirk doesn't define who you are. Hard work and dedication defines a person." As Deku said those words, all 5 of the kids looked at him. The 4 kids looked at him with disgust, while the boy with purple hair smiled at him as he heard the words Deku told him. The 4 who were bullying the boy with purple hair all walked up to Deku. "Nobody asked you what you think. Why are you helping this villain? His quirk isn't very heroic, it is evil." All of them shouted at Deku. Deku looked at them with narrowed eyes. First, he is not a villain. He is just a kid. Second, the way you're treating him is what makes will make him into a villain. What makes a lot of people into villains. Third, like I said before, a quirk doesn't define a person. Hard work and dedication does. I mean, take a look at All Might and Endeavor. They're the top two heroes, and yet look at how destructive their quirks are. They could easily destroy buildings and even kill people. So many people. But they don't. Deku shot down each and everything that they had said. The kid with the draft quirk spoke up. Nobody asked you, what do you think? Leave before I make you. Why? Why should I? Besides, what can your giraffe quirk do against me? He said, giving the boy with the giraffe quirk a taste of his own medicine. The boy with the giraffe quirk looked at him in shock before the look turned into anger and charged right at Deku, ready to deliver a punch. Before he could, Deku made his move first as he charged forward, turning his right arm into mochi, but keeping his fists solid. He did his best to apply a little bit of hockey into his right fist. Not a lot, just a little. It worked as well. He pulled his fist back and shot it straight forward. The fist made contact as Deku had punched the kid with the giraffe quirk straight in the face, breaking his nose and sending him backwards, as Deku yelled, "Mochi Mochi Bullet!" The kids who saw this were in awe struck on how easily Deku took the other boy down. The kid with the giraffe quirk was knocked out, laying under a tree. Deku's right arm had returned back to normal, as he turned to look at the other three kids, only to notice that they were gone. The only one there was the boy with the purple hair. Deku walked up to him. "Hey, are you okay?" Deku asked him as he tried to cheer him up. Yeah, I am. Thank you for helping me," the boy said as he looked up at Deku. "What's your name?" Deku asked him. "My name is Hitoshi Shinzo. What's yours?" The boy named Shinzo asked. "The name is Izuku Midoriya, but my friends just call me Deku," he said with a happy tone. Deku's smile soon turned into a frown. "Why were those kids bullying you?" As Deku said those words, Shinzo looked down at the ground with a sad expression on his face. "It's because of my quirk. It allows me to brainwash people. Everybody sees it as a villainous quirk." Shinzo began to tear up as he said those words. A quirk doesn't make a villain. Hard work and dedication does. That's what defines a person. That's what defines a hero. Deku says he puts his right hand on Shinzo's shoulder. "In the wrong hands, your quirk can do so much damage, but in the right hands, it can do so much good for the world." Once Deku said those words, Shinzo smiled as he wiped away his tears. "Thank you, Deku," Shinzo said. Before Deku could say or ask anything else, a woman's voice could be heard. "Shinzo, where are you?" Both Deku and Shinzo turned to look over and see a woman with purple hair, purple eyes, and she looked like she was in her mid-40s. She had the classic Karen hairstyle and just had a look said, "Where is your manager?" She walked up to both of them. "Shinzo, where have you been?" she yelled, looking into his eyes, giving him a death glare. When Deku looked back at Shinzo, he was trembling in fear. I was playing with... Shinzo never got a chance to finish his explanation as his mother grabbed his hand and began to drag him away from Deku. "We're going home and you're grounded." "For what?" Shinzo yelled out as he was being dragged away. The way Shinzo's mom was treating him made Deku sick to his stomach. Within Deku's mind, Katakuri spoke up. "Follow them." Unknown to Deku, Katakuri was remembering all the times when his brothers and sisters were being abused and attacked by their own mother, Big Mom. Deku did as he was told and followed Shinzo and his mother. They had left the park and made their way back to their home in a car. It's thanks to Deku's training, he was able to keep up with the car by making sure that he kept his distance so his mother wouldn't see him following her. Deku stuck to the shadows and avoided suspicion from the people on the streets. He kept on following the car for like 20 minutes as it came to a stop and parked right in front of a house. To say it looked terrible would be an understatement. So this is where he lives, Deku said to himself as he was out of breath and tired from all the running he had to do. I gotta work on my stamina more, Deku said as he made his way and hid inside one of the bushes surrounding the house and listened in on what Shinzo's mother was saying to him. Shinzo was in tears while his mother kept on saying terrible things about him. I can't believe I have to take care of a villain. Shinzo looked downright miserable as he walked into his house. By using the windows, Deku could see that Shinzo was making his way upstairs. Looking around to make sure that no one was around, Deku made his way over to the house and began to look to the top to try and find a window to the second floor. After a bit of searching, Deku found a window in the back of the house. Deku did one final check before activating his Devil Fruit and morphing his legs into mochi and stretching so that he was tall enough to see through the window. Once Deku was tall enough, he looked right through the window to see if he could find where Shinzo was. To his surprise, Shinzo was right in front of him. Deku saw Shinzo crying in his room, but the room was enormous for him alone. Is this the attic? Deku said as he looked around through the window. Deku wasn't given much time to look around as he soon heard a gasp. He soon turned back to Shinzo, making him look over at the window and open it. Shinzo looked surprised and a bit happy to see Deku. What are you doing here? And why are you on my roof? Shinzo asked. I came here to ask you I wanted you to join my crew and run away from this place. Once Deku said those words, Shinzo was shocked and was an understatement. Before Shinzo could say anything or scream out his response, Deku covered his mouth with his right hand. Don't yell, your mom will hear. As Deku told him to calm down and gave him a worried look. Your mom has no right to treat you like that. All this because of your quirk. Besides, do you have anything that is keeping you here? Deku asked Shinzo. At first, Shinzo looked very hesitant at first. But after a few minutes of thinking, he looked right at Deku. I will join your crew. When do we leave? He asked Deku with no hesitation in his voice. We leave tonight. Find a good-sized bag, and then I will help you pick up the supplies that we will need. Deku told him as he would make his way into Shinzo's room, his legs turning back to normal. Once Deku had entered Shinzo's room, he began to look around. Inside, two things came to his mind. One, he could now confirm that Shinzo's room was the attic of the house. Two, there was barely anything inside the room. Shinzo would soon explain his backstory. Once his folks found out his quirk was brainwashing, that even his parents thought that Shinzo would grow up to be a villain. His parents, friends, even other family members treated him horribly because of his quirk. Everything that he said made Deku mad and want to go and beat the shit out of all these people. Calm yourself, Izuku. I know it is frustrating, but we must continue to grow your strength along with your first mate now. Gadokuri told Deku with his mind as he looked back at Shinzo with a comforting smile on his face. Deku and his first mate Shinzo would wait for a little while for the sun to go down. During that time, Shinzo would explain more about his quirk, on how he needs to ask a person a question in order to use it. In exchange, Deku told Shinzo about his devil fruit and as well as plans for the future. Shinzo was shocked to hear that there were special fruits out there that could give people a quirk. Deku didn't tell Shinzo about Katakuri though, as Shinzo asked about Deku's plan. So Deku, what is your plan for the future? Shinzo asked, actually curious about the plan for Deku's future. My plan for the future? My plan for the future is to form a team, a group of people who were seen as worthless, quirkless, useless, villainous quirk, or freak shows, and show the world that what we can do. That we can do exactly what they can do. Heck, maybe even better, stronger. That they were wrong about us, and bring change to this corrupted system. There are so many villains that were created by them, by this system. The people with flashy or powerful quirks push us all to villains. But when the truth is revealed, they're praised while others suffer. Deku said in anger as he remembered on how Bakugo would hurt him and his fellow classmates. And it's due to his flashy quirk that he couldn't fight back or never got in trouble. He would even remember the times where Bakugo would have to fight Deku or even hurt Deku for just no reason at all. And he would get off scot-free because of his quirk. My group, my family will never abandon the weak who wish to fight and become true heroes. Deku told his plan to Shinzo on what he was going to do for the future. When Deku looked back at Shinzo, he had a very big smile and stars in his eyes. Within Shinzo's mind, he was thinking about all that could happen, the good, the bad. But then the idea of meeting people just like him, who were treated terribly, just because of something they couldn't control. Shinzo spoke up, I can't wait. Your crew's right hand has got your back. Let's make a better future. Shinzo said to Deku, with his right hand on Deku's shoulder. Deku smiled and looked out at the window as their conversation lasted a while as the sun was already setting. Shinzo went to his closet and pulled out a big backpack that could hold a lot of stuff inside. Deku gave Shinzo a questioning look on why he had that there. Shinzo gave Deku a sheepish smile as he began to scratch the back of his head. To be honest, I was thinking and considering of running away before I met you. He said as Deku just had an understanding smile. Deku kept to himself and just helped Shinzo pack clothes, shoes, and any other necessary supplies. Once they were done, Deku closed his eyes and began to use his observation haki to see where Shinzo's mother was. She was in her room, laying down in bed. Your mom is in her room. Deku turned to look at Shinzo, but then again noticed something. Deku looked to see Shinzo holding a file in his hands. What is that? Inside this file are pictures of my bruises when my mom would hit me, he said, opening it and showing Deku a few photos. Deku already knew what Shinzo wanted to do, and he smiled. Once we leave, I will call the cops. But first, we need snacks, water, and a few other supplies. Deku said as he quickly and quietly opened the door to Shinzo's room, and slowly and quietly made his way down to the kitchen, with Shinzo right behind him. They both entered the kitchen as they began to look through the fridge and the pantry for canned foods, bottles of water, and etc. Once they had enough food, they stored it all into their bags and made their way to the front door. Deku opened the door and exited the house, Shinzo following close by. Then, once they had exited, Shinzo had to quietly close the door. They made their way throughout the neighborhood, into the town, and out of the city. But before leaving, they left the file of evidence against Shinzo's mom and a note on it at the police station. Once that was done, they both left the city, as their journey had finally begun. Within Shinzo's mind, he was thinking about Deku. No one had ever given me so much hope before like this. I have no regrets running away from that house. It was only holding bad memories inside it. My new friend, no, my big brother, Midoriya, sees past my quirk and sees who I really am. Shinzo smiled as he was ready for what the world had in store for them. End of Chapter 2. Thanks for listening to my video, guys, and I'll be posting Chapter 3 of Yannko Mochi real soon. Till next time.